Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Gemma Galloway and I live in Ayr. I'm married to Steve and we've got two kids called Lucy and Jack. If you have been Southside at all, you might have seen Lucy up at the front waving a flag with Mary and some of the other kids, and you might have seen Jack running about, climbing on stuff, generally causing some kind of havoc at the back of the church. So Steve and I don't really get to sit down much during the service, especially not together. So that's one of the main differences between church before and after lockdown, is that we get to sit next to each other occasionally in the church in our home. Other things you might know about me is that my day job is that of a secondary school teacher. I teach at Kelly Academy and I love it. I love my school and the people I get to work with, and the kids that I get to see every day. One of the things I've really been missing about my job is the interaction between the kids, because it's by far the best part of the job. So I miss seeing them every day and catching up with them. But thankfully, Southside Youth have been on hand to sort me out with that. So it's been lovely to still be able to see them, like on the screen, obviously, not in real life, but to still get their chat and to find out like how they're getting on, and just like talking Jesus stuff and trying to know him better. Something else you might know about me is that this is not my favourite thing to do. I don't really enjoy looking at my face for, yep, there it is, look at my face for 10 minutes. But let's just do it. We're all in this together. Let's go for it and see what happens. So I have been to Southside for over 11 years now. I first came to Southside in 2008, and my grandpa had just died at that time, and I was down from Glasgow. I lived in Glasgow at the time, and I was down in Ayr, and I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to go to the church that I grew up in, because I thought if anybody asks me anything about it, or if they speak to me about it, I'm probably going to get upset and make a fool of myself and look all emotionally unstable. So I thought I'll just go somewhere else. So my friend Fraser Brown said, why don't you come to Southside? So I thought, okay. So off I went with the blatant intention to just go and sit in the service and then leave again. I wanted to be completely invisible and unnoticed, and to just slip in at the back, enjoy the service and then go again. Obviously, here we are 11 years later, so that did not happen, because when I walked through the door hoping that no one would see me, he saw me. He saw me, and he sees us all. And his plan was not for me to sit quietly at the side and then leave immediately. He had a much better plan, because when I walked through the door, I actually got to meet people then and later that would become like family to me. Especially because a month later, so that was in December, a month later in January, I started going out with Steve Galloway. I met him and we started pointing at him. I met him and we started going out in January 2009, because he already went to Southside, and by February 2009 I was already on my first Southside Touch the World youth weekend away. So funny how things work out when you trust God's plan instead of your own. So family is what Southside means to me, and family is a word that I've really been thinking about recently. When I was asked to do this, it was basically the first thing I could think of to talk about. Family is one of the big differences between my life before lockdown and my life after lockdown. Anybody else who is a teacher will be able to tell you that it is a busy job, and sometimes it can feel all-consuming. Like there's always something to do, there's always something that's not finished and something else that's not started, and it's a bit crazy. So what this lockdown has done for me is to give me extra bonus time with my family that I would never normally have got. So for that I'm grateful, because it's time that I'd never imagined that I'd be able to spend with both my children and my husband at the same time. So that's been a benefit. Family though are just full of differences, full of different people with different skills, different personalities, different things that annoy them, lots of differences, and that's just how church is. It really isn't anybody's intention, or it definitely isn't God's intention, that people would sit in church and feel unnoticed and feel invisible. He does not want that for us. He wants church to be like a community and like a family, which is like the plan, really, isn't it? That's like how I see the church. I really like the bit in the Bible that says about how in the body of Christ, so in like the church, if we were all an eye or if we all were a hand, like it would be pretty useless. It'd be it'd be a right anyway if you looked at somebody that was just all hands and all eyes and things, but it wouldn't work. We need to rely on people with different skills and different qualities and things like that. Sometimes something that I'm guilty of, even this time when I'm not really seeing many other people, is comparing myself to other people. Sometimes we look at other people and want the skills that they have or want to be able to do the things that they can do, and it always looks so much more appealing that the skills that we have and the personality that we've got and the things that we can do. So if you're like me, like I'm a member of like some random Facebook groups to do with like mums and dads and things and parents in South Ayrshire and all this kind of stuff, and you'll get the people who are coping with lockdown by like managing to homeschool their children and managing to like bake everything while landscaping their garden and working from home and all these kind of things. And the initial reaction is to like look at that and think like, oh, they're coping really well, but everybody's different. Like you never know what other people have got going on. I like the verse in the Bible. It's proper paraphrase, but it's from Ephesians 1. But the paraphrase that somebody told me when I was at university was that he has handpicked us and perfectly formed us. We are handpicked and perfectly formed. So when we are comparing ourselves to somebody else, we're kind of ignoring the fact that he has handpicked us for a reason and he's perfectly formed us. He doesn't look at us and think like, you've not baked anything for a while, or didn't really do so well with the homeschooling today, or it would be good if you're a bit more confident, a bit more sporty, or I don't know, like a bit taller or shorter or something like that. He doesn't look at us like that. He looks at us like handpicked by the Creator and perfectly formed exactly the way that he wanted us to be, which is a bit mind-blowing. I'm a member of a choir. We sing every year in the concert hall, like with 400 other people, so like there's not as much pressure as usual, but we're doing it online now and stuff, so I get to really hear what I sound like, which is wonderful. But once they did, before the concert they were singing in, they did a blessing over us, and this guy got up and him and his wife read a blessing over us, and one of the parts that he read was the choir wouldn't be the same without you. Like you, he was speaking to each one of us, and he said your family wouldn't be the same without you. And I thought, oh, that's lovely, and that's really stayed with me. Like your family wouldn't be the same without you, like not 12 of somebody else that you're looking at wishing that you had their attributes and stuff, but you, actually you. And that's the way that the church works as well. Church wouldn't be the same without you and what you bring to the table. They also said 1 year before we sang, and we were all ready to go into the stage and stuff, and one of the guys said that we've all been blessed with this gift, that we're able to sing songs to the Lord and stuff, and we're able to like bring people into the presence of God by singing these songs. And he said when somebody gives you a gift, if you don't use it or if you don't open it, then it's an insult to the giver and it's a waste of a gift. So I always think when we compare ourselves to other people and we wish we were more like them, we are ignoring the gift. We're not opening the gift that God has given us. It's an insult. It can be an insult to him who has decided that we're worthy of this gift, and it's also a waste. It's a waste of a gift that we could have used for something else. So that other thing always stays with me as well. So you might be thinking like, how am I going to cope with lockdown? And you might have a totally different experience to me, but you might be looking, thinking like, other people seem to be coping much better. Other people seem to be managing much better. But think about the skills and qualities that he's given you. He might have given you lots of time to be able to pray for people. He might have been giving you, you might be doing okay financially, and you might be thinking, what do you want to use that money to bless your community or your church family? He might be making you a really good listener or a really good conversationalist, so you could be phoning people, seeing if they're okay, listening to their problems and things like that. We're all family and we really need everybody. On the subject of prayer, just really quickly, because I've talking for 9 minutes, goodness sake. I remember in January, at the start of January this year, I hurt my back and it was awful, like it was terrible. And it was sore for like 7 weeks. It was terrible. Anybody that saw me during that time, like, apologies, because I literally looked like Mrs. Overall from like the Victoria Wood programme, if you've ever seen that. Sorry if that's like too late a reference. But oh, it was terrible. And I was off work for about 3 days before I was like, right, I need to struggle in. So I struggled in. And a few weeks later, Debbie Meehan, name check, Debbie Meehan was in the staff room because she sometimes comes into Kyle and does some teaching and stuff. And she was like, Gemma, why have you not phoned me and asked to put yourself on the prayer chain? Like, what are you playing at, basically, in a nice way. And I was like, oh, do you know, some people have got real problems. And she was like, Gemma, this is a real problem. And she was right, because the state of me, I can't, oh, it was terrible. So she put me on the prayer chain and people started praying for me, and it didn't get better right away. Like, it wasn't like an instant boom moment, but like it did get better. But more than that, more than actually getting better, knowing that my church family were holding me up in prayer and supporting me, and that was just, it was lovely. So we should be depending on each other. We should be like bringing our problems to each other so we can share the burden and really be like family. So I've talked for ages, sorry. He sees you is my first thing. He sees you. He doesn't want you to be sitting like ignored. He sees you. The second thing is like, what skills and qualities has he given you? Because he's given you them. He hasn't given them to anybody else. He's given you them. And how can we use the skills and qualities that he's given us to really bless our church family and our community as well? So I pray all these things over you, and I can't wait until we're all back together again.